All right, let's get right into it. We have all been there, right? You're driving down a road you know like the back of your hand, and then suddenly you're sharing the pavement with a massive piece of construction equipment. It can turn a totally normal drive into a high-stakes situation in just seconds. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can navigate it like a pro. Yeah, this quote it nails that feeling perfectly, doesn't it? You see this huge machine just lumbering along. Maybe it's pulling out from some hidden work site, and your brain just starts buzzing. Can he see me? What's he going to do next? You know, that immediate jolt of unease, that's a universal feeling.
So, let's push past that initial gut reaction. Let's really dig in and get into the mechanics, the human factors, and the actual strategies at play here. Because answering this question, that's the key to turning all that uncertainty into confident, safe driving.
To start, we really need to understand the machine itself. We're going to deconstruct the dangers that are just built right into this heavy equipment. Because believe me, the rules of the road are completely different for them. And this right here, this is the most crucial point to get. These are not just bigger cars. They operate under a completely different set of physical laws. We're talking about their immense size, their weight, and their purpose-built design. Let's break these dangers down, starting with the biggest one, massive blind spots. And I'm not talking about the little area your side mirror misses. No. Some of the blind spots around these machines are so huge they could literally hide your entire car. If you're in one of those spots, as far as that operator is concerned, you just don't exist. You're invisible. Now you take that visibility problem, and you combine it with their complete lack of agility. They need a huge amount of room to turn. I mean, it is super common for them to swing out across 2, sometimes even 3 lanes of traffic. Any driver who misjudges that turning space is putting themselves at a huge risk for collision. And then there's the weight and inertia. And this leads to a statistic that is it's staggering. At highway speeds, a fully loaded dump truck can take up to 2 football fields to come to a complete stop. Just think about that for a second. 2 football fields. Your car can stop in a tiny fraction of that. This gigantic difference is exactly why tailgating one of these vehicles is one of the worst ideas you could possibly have.
And as if all that wasn't enough, you've got these other hazards to think about. They often stop and start without giving you the kind of warning a car would. Their loads can shift and drop dirt or gravel onto the road. And they often pull out into live traffic from a work site with very little warning.
So with all these dangers, have you ever stopped to wonder why they're almost always yellow? It's not just for looks, it's actual safety science. Yellow creates this powerful contrast against things like dirt and asphalt, making the vehicle pop. And psychologically, it's a universal sign for caution. It's basically telling our brains to wake up and be alert before we even fully process what we're looking at. Pretty smart, right? Okay, so we've covered the machine itself, but now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because safety isn't just about the vehicle, it's about this whole ecosystem of people and rules around it. And sometimes there's a pretty big gap between the plan and what actually happens in reality. You see, while there are a lot of really solid safety measures in place, they just aren't foolproof. And understanding where things can go wrong is so important for us as drivers, because it reminds us why our own attention is non-negotiable.
In a perfect world, right, the operators are fully trained, totally rested, the vehicles are perfectly maintained, and communication is crystal clear. But the reality is, operator fatigue from long hours is a huge issue. It can mess with your judgment in a way that's scarily similar to being intoxicated. Brakes can fail without warming, and on a loud, busy construction site, communication can break down in an instant.
So all of this brings us right back to you. Knowing everything we've just talked about, what can you actually do? Well, this final section is your playbook. These are clear, proactive strategies that put you back in control of the situation and help make the road safer for absolutely everyone.
It really just boils down to 4 critical steps. 1. Create a buffer zone. 2. Stay visible. 3. Anticipate their moves. And 4. Pass with extreme caution. Let's start with number 1, creating that buffer zone. This means you need to leave way more space behind them than you would for a normal car. That space gives you time to react, but just as important, it helps keep you out of their massive rear blind spot.
Okay, now, if you forget everything else I've said today, please remember this one rule. Never, ever pass a construction vehicle on the right. Why? Because their blind spots are almost always the biggest on the vehicle's right side. The operator might genuinely have no clue that you are there, which makes it an unbelievably risky move. And here are a few more quick hitters for your playbook. Be ready to yield to them, they just don't have the agility to yield to you. Watch the operator themselves for hand signals.
Put your phone away, just get rid of all the distractions. And finally, build some extra time into your trip so you don't get impatient. Honestly, patience is your best safety tool.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. You can't control the operator, you can't control the machine, and you can't control the worksite, but you can 100% control your own actions. Driving safely around this equipment isn't just their job, it's a shared responsibility, and that responsibility starts with you.
So let's just boil it down real quick. Here are your key takeaways. First, really understand their physical limits, those huge blind spots and insane stopping distances. Second, know that your main job is to stay visible and drive predictably. And third, never forget that patience and anticipation are your most powerful tools out there. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to take with you on the road. The next time you see one of those big yellow machines, don't just see a slow-moving pain in the neck. Instead, ask yourself this question. By understanding the challenges that operator is dealing with, how can my driving actively help make this moment safer for every single person involved?
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.